my life, I was always terrified of what other people thought of me. I let others' judgments and views of me create this fear that I couldn't escape my entire life. I'm from a small town in Smithfield, Maine, with about 920 people. To say that I'm doing something that people would not expect me to do is probably pretty accurate. So my story starts in Portland, Maine, January 18th, 2008. And I woke up early this morning at a house in Portland. And I put on a pot of coffee and I sat down, and this morning I had one goal in mind. And that goal was to create a name for a clothing company. Clothing company, because a few days earlier, my friend Pete and I had been talking about what I was going to do with the rest of my life. Well, that's a daunting question. You get asked it all the time. All of a sudden, that question snuck up on me, and I was faced with, well, what am I going to do? So I sat down, and I threw out probably every overused, metaphorical, corny name I could think of. And after an hour, I was like, how could I possibly run a clothing company? I can't even think of a name. So my last-ditch effort, I decided to start tying in my name a certain way to the brand. So I started spelling my name backwards, E-L-Y-K. And I started Googling it at the same time. Thank God for Google. And all of a sudden it popped up and it said, did you mean Elykssor? Like, what the heck is Elykssor? And I started looking at it and it said, to prolong life indefinitely, positivity, to turn anything you touch into gold. And I had my Billy Madison moment. I am the smartest man alive. I somehow came up with a name that incorporates my name backwards into a clothing brand. So I'm beaming, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden my friend Raz walks into the room and looks over my shoulder and just says, Elykssor. That's the stupidest name I've ever heard in my life. So immediately I had this moment of panic and the fear I'd always felt of being judged by somebody else. How can I, a kid from Smithfield, Maine, a town of less than 1,000 people, get his word to come up off the page and dance, to come alive, to make my own wave in life? So I went back to Huston that following Monday, and I got into my business entrepreneurship class, and while everybody was building, fake travel agencies and ice cream shops, which were all very great, in my mind, I was creating a real business. Why? Because I was putting fabric paint on shirts in my shower, and I was doing photo shoots with Pete, and I was making it real. I was building a MySpace. Yes, MySpace. So I kept quiet about it. I didn't want to be judged. So a week before school ended, I launched this video, people talking about the brand and making it seem like it was the best thing in the world. And what happened? It was positive. I somehow narrowly escaped being judged. The only negativity I heard was, like I said, just this kind of, we didn't expect you to do this. I don't know what people expected me to do, but I could probably guarantee you that it wasn't to start an upscale clothing or a t-shirt company at the time. So that went. I had my first launch party in Portland, Maine in 2008. Put no work into it. Thought that all my momentum was going to carry me and that this party was going to launch me into a different stratosphere. That night came and went, and about 5 people showed up. And I know this because I think half of them, or 2 or 3 of them, were my mom, my sister, and a couple of friends. But there's a picture of me from that night, and I'm sitting there with my head down, and it's so great to see that photo because I didn't want to look up. Literally did not want to look up at anybody because I was just so terrified. So I had the opportunity a week later to move to New Jersey, or run away to New Jersey. It's perfect. So I got there, and 2 weeks later, I'm thinking, God, no one has to know of my failure. I'm in this person's house, a very well-known professional athlete's house, going, what do you need? Kyle, what do you need? I want to help you bring Elykssor to the next level. I want to give you money or Elykssor. So my mindset, as any 23-year-old would think, who had just failed, was this move was worth it. This is what I'm meant to do. I can bypass the meat grinder, bypass failure, and jump right to success. Again, that came and went, and I failed again. So the next 2 years of my life that I spent in New Jersey with Elykssor, I just existed. I let the brand exist. I didn't push myself. I was so afraid of failing, of being judged by others, nothing happened. It didn't grow. It didn't progress. Absolutely nothing. I moved home to Maine in June 2010. I wanted to bring the brand back to Maine, because it started here. I have my roots here. This is the place that means the most to me. And it wasn't a New York City thing, and it wasn't a New Jersey thing. And I thought to myself, okay, this is my last chance. I've had 2.5 years into this now. I have to stop this. So I have one more chance. I'm going to throw another launch event in Portland, right in the old port. But this time, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to go on TV for the first time, scared out of my mind. I'm going to do a TV interview, or a newspaper interview, scared absolutely out of my mind. Put in real work. We branded it. We made it look great. And it was a financial risk. I was shaking in my boots. So I remember the night before this event, the Bangor Daily News ran a story on me and about how the brand was coming back from New York City to Maine. And I remember they released it the night before, and we all sat around and we read the comments, which is something I would not recommend anybody to do, much the same as YouTube comments. And my favorite comment went like this, and it said, Portland, Maine, and New York City, complete success. Back to Portland, Maine, whatever. We should probably boycott this guy's event. If that doesn't make you scared, I don't know what would. I mean, this is how everybody thinks. Are these people really going to drive here from Bangor and boycott my event? I'm just selling t-shirts. I was as scared as I've ever been. So this night came and went. Finally, success. And I was there with my best friends and my family. People genuinely coming up to me going, hey man, it's great that you're back in Maine. You know, I heard you had a rough go of it to begin. Your journey is nice. Right then, I realized it's a journey. You don't get to success by skipping the meat grinder. I always thought that success was just something that just happened, and you just got to it. And people that were successful, people that we look up to in our day-to-day, celebrities, musicians, athletes, that somehow they magically just landed at success. They didn't have to do anything. So immediately, my life flipped. From that moment on, from then to this very moment, I've done TV, radio, national TV, hosted my own television show, put out limited runs of clothing every month for a year now. Each one is sold out, and each time I was terrified before I put it out, thinking, this is really something different. I hope this works. This could possibly suck. And it was okay. And as time passed, I wasn't really sure what kind of wave I was making or what kind of impact I was making. Because you just go, you face your fear, and you move on. So last year I was asked to speak at Maine Youth Leadership, which is a conference held every year for the weekend for every 10th grader in the state of Maine, in Gorham. And my section was just talking about owning a business, and that could possibly be an option after high school. So that time came and went, and a couple days later, I started getting thank you notes, and I actually have one right here. I don't always keep it on me, it's just keep it in here now. And this one really meant something to me. And it's from a girl named Danielle, from a small town in Maine. Sounds kind of familiar. And it says, you really showed me, Kyle, that anything is possible as long as you're willing to work for it and face your fear. I've had a lot of disappointments and let go of my dreams in the past year. But you inspired me to hold on to my dreams again. She finished it by saying, thank you for impacting my life. Right then again, my dream, my word, Elykssor, up off the page, impacting on someone else's life. My wave had impacted on someone else's shore. The mindset I would invite you to embrace as kids in high school, or anybody, is challenge your fear, challenge adversity. I can only speak from personal experience and say that no matter what comes of challenging your fear and adversity, it is all very much worth it. Thank you.